You're listening to REIA Radio, the nationally trusted name in real estate investing. We dig deep to discover investors' why in real estate. If you want to skip all the BS and get in investors' heads, you're in the right spot. Be one of the thousands to check out REIARadio.com. Welcome to REIA Radio, episode 291. This is the Real Estate Rundown with Owen Dashner and Ted Kosh. Man, Dalton Hanson, we just had on the podcast.
Yeah, he's a baller. That was a fun episode. I'd heard quite a bit about him from Colin, but yeah, he was, man, I can't believe the moves he's making.
You ever seen anybody, does he have the record now for the most amount of units in a small amount of time?
He might. He might.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, and he's so young. That is, I was expecting
28.
I was expecting somebody like
ask.
my age. No, he left his job at 20. I think he's probably 30.
Okay.
Yeah, but man, you guys wait until this episode on Wednesday. You are gonna have your hair blown back by all the stuff this guy's doing in South Dakota and northern Iowa markets. Just unbelievable story.
And he came into the studio, which is always fun.
He did. I was expecting a remote thing, so it's always better to have in person. But yeah, that was super fun episode.
And it was his first podcast, which is also surprising.
Yep. He took his virginity.
He was a natural.
He was. He did great. No radio edits, which is a record for us. What's your week been like, man? I didn't see you at the coffee meetup yesterday. I was kind of sad.
I was literally en route to go there, and I had a morning meeting with Jerry that went a little late.
She was there.
Yep. And then we were both heading down there, and I was supposed to meet a gentleman to talk about YouTube and helping us with our YouTube presence and so on. And he's like, "Hey, I'm running really behind. Can we meet somewhere in between? I'm on the same second. I got to head back out west." And it was a big priority to sit down with him. Mm-hmm. So we met halfway there. We just literally did a meeting in the truck. I set up my little desk area in the truck, and we had nowhere to stop. And then that meeting went literally it's 11:45, and I was just like, oh, yeah, I'm not gonna make it today.
So anyway, we've got a YouTube consultant now, so we're going big time, people.
Well, maybe we haven't signed any papers.
We're entertaining sponsorship offers. We're just saying. Zillow.
We used to have some really good sponsors.
We did. Yeah, we kind of went the other direction on sponsors, but that's okay. We've been raw dogging it for a while. We're back in the mix for sponsorship opportunities here. So just saying, check out our 5-star reviews.
It was really interesting to talk to him. So as this grows, I'd be interested to see what potential we have, because he pointed out all the deficits that we have with our YouTube channel. Ugh. And he's like, yeah, which is he's like, it's
kind of like flipping on the lights out at the end of the night at the bar.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to see that.
I mean, I would love to have him just come on and talk about YouTube for a minute, but he's like, yeah, you don't have a really good header. He goes, you don't really want to have your titles have the name unless it's a big national name. So you just want the big grab attention title. And then he has this analyzer for these sites. And he's like, some of these people, when they put a YouTube up, if it's not hitting fast enough, they actually will change the name immediately, watch the stats, change the name immediately, watch the stats until they get one that just peaks.
So they do testing. No, that's pretty interesting. Okay, so meeting. Any deals? You always have an opportunity book.
Man, the opportunities have just been endless lately. Or maybe I'm just documenting them and I don't really lay them out in front of me. But I have a few listings going up on my real estate side, which I pass those over to my mom to get done. Mm-hmm. I had some big deals lately. I had somebody reach out to me, and they have a trailer park in Oklahoma that they want to get rid of. So if you're looking for one of those deals, please let me know. I'll pass that reference on. Wife is kind of done with it, and husband's been running it. It's just time suck. I think it's 60 spots for 1.3 million, which is kind of interesting. And I reached out to somebody, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm not gonna do Oklahoma. The tornado will take it right up."
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah,
I was like, "Yeah, it's still standing though."
They're mobile homes because they can fly through the air.
I had somebody reach out to me about running a national conference for them, kind of like we do.
Oh yeah, you told me about that.
Yeah, they want to be bigger pocket size event in Tahoe, and I just don't think I'm ready for that move. I really think I could do it, but I would have to be putting all my efforts into doing something.
Yeah,
like that.
You did divert your attention from your regular stuff.
Yeah. And car wash has been killing it. I mean, I made more money in the car wash in the last week and a half than it's made all last month.
Are you bummed it hasn't snowed more this winter?
Well, I guess it would have brought more. I guess it would have brought a lot more money in.
Yeah,
but December had its highest record month ever, but I didn't own it most of December.
Yeah.
So, but it was interesting to see the numbers and how it works. I'm working with Axel Foley. He's actually going to be there probably later today. And he's like, oh, we can switch out these mixtures. We can add these products. He goes like, do you know that your system is actually set up to add 3 more products on there? And I'm like, no.
Oh, you're getting sold.
And
he's selling.
Yeah, no, but I want that because he's like, the longer somebody's in the car wash bays, the more money you make.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the whole point. That's why people do triple foam. And that's why when, just so you know, those triple foams, which I've always done on when I have my nice car on, they're actually designed to not spray off easily.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. And so so you're spraying. There's a use for it, but it's also like made to be sticky.
Okay, let's say, all right, you got a coin operated car wash. So this is the kind where, it takes bills, credit cards, all the whole thing.
Yeah. Tap everything. Yeah.
So you buy the minute, or do you get like 5 minutes or something like that, and then you have to add more money?
God, I'm embarrassed to even tell you. I don't even know how much time you get when you put money in because I haven't put money into it yet. I think it's like 3.5 minutes for like $3 or something like that.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Have you gotten your water bill yet?
It's on a level plan, and it's like $200.
That's it?
Yeah, hasn't been that big of a deal.
Wow, that's surprising to me.
Yeah, but it's not like it's a spray. It's a high pressure hose. It isn't like
it's not one of the tunnels. It's
exactly.
Yeah.
I think those go through a ton of water.
Yeah.
And so, my electricity bill's just been pretty low so far.
Oh, one question I wanted to ask you that I think I neglected. Did you have to do an environmental study when you bought that?
Yeah, level 1.
Level 1. And did they already have one that was done, or did you have to order a new one and they come out?
Yeah.
Did you have to do anything with that, or you just called a vendor?
Nothing came up, nor did I even see a report.
Yeah. Man, I've heard some horror stories about, not car wash in particular, but I was reading this, I think it was an article about a week ago, and this dude had bought an industrial building. I think it was just, kind of like your regular, commercial bay type industrial building. It wasn't anything crazy, but they had bought it. And I think they did a phase 1 environmental, and I'm not an expert on this. So if you're listening to this and you are, I probably sound really dumb, but they had to end up doing a phase 2, I believe, or maybe, I don't know how many phases there even are, but they did the next level or maybe the next 2 levels because of the type of property it was and the type of business that was running. So I think the guy had maybe, I don't know if it was like trucking or something like that, but the dude was just dumping like hazardous waste in the back of the property, like it had kind of like extra land or whatever.
Oh,
so he's just dumping all that back there. And it was like, don't quote me on this. Well, it doesn't matter. I can make up any number I want because nobody's going to read this article, but it was millions of dollars, but it totally screwed the guy because, I think he was under contract and then like went hard on the earnest deposit or whatever. So he lost like a huge chunk. So it was a big property.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just thought that was interesting. The environmental things can turn up all kinds of stuff, special and industrial type properties.
Yeah. Luckily I didn't have to go down that road. Plus I'm a small town, so my life's a little easier.
Yeah. If you want to hear more about that, or if that's interesting at all, our most recent guest, Andrea Foley, had talked a little bit about the struggles of when they were getting their new car wash build done and the extra steps the city made them and the hoops they had to jump through to kind of get it, the environmental concerns and water retention and like all the stuff that you never even think about when you're dealing with residential stuff. So it's kind of a different ball game. There's definitely boxes you got to check when you're changing asset classes to something like industrial.
Keep me out of Omaha and that stuff.
Right. You love your small town.
Yeah,
right?
I'm really starting to think that this is the way to go.
Dude, speaking of small towns, sorry, I mean to cut you off there. Yeah. But so the town I live in has roughly about 4,000 people, right? So it's right next to downtown Omaha, but they have their own, township and, city hall and all the, their own stuff. They're their own town. So they recently adopted basically the Omaha building codes and the city inspection policies that Council Bluffs has, which is actually more in depth than Omaha, in my opinion. So I had 3 property. Okay, check this out. So I had 3 houses that I have. They're rentals. 2 of them are managed. Okay, so I don't deal at all with the tenants. I don't even know who lives there, right? Without researching it, looking up the lease. One of them I own and I self-manage. And so this new city inspector starts. It's a gal, and she's very new into this industry. In fact, she was an accountant before. Because I asked her, I'm like, hey, what'd you do before you got into this gig? And she's like, oh, I was an accountant. And I'm like, what? That doesn't. I don't know what I was expecting, but I was surprised by that. And she's doing all these inspections, but I had stood her up twice. She called me. I was busy driving. She's like, hey, I need to inspect these 3 properties. And I'm like, oh, okay. And she's like, yeah, we sent you a letter about it. We're going to do it. And they automatically schedule it. That's the thing that sucks. They'll send you a letter and it'll be like, you're scheduled for an inspection on this and this date. If we don't hear from you, it's going to happen. And I just threw the letter away, didn't pay attention, didn't put it in my calendar. She's there and calls me. Twice this happened. I stood her up the first time and then it happened again. And I'm like, I fell all over myself apologizing. I'm like, I am so sorry, doing all that, mea culpa, whatever. And so I finally meet her out there at the one, and she had gone through 2 of my managed properties first. So I have a property manager, third party. They manage it. I don't deal with any of it, right? Leasing, all that stuff. So she goes through those 2 first, then goes, and I meet her at the one I manage. And so the 2 that went through first, she comes and I meet her and I'm like, hey, how'd it go? And she's like, well, it's nothing major at all, but I had to fail it because, and I'm like, oh, what was the issue? And she said, well, there was no fire extinguisher in either of the 2 houses. And I'm like, what? Really? Okay. Well, yeah, that's concerning. And so blah, blah, blah. We that's on the to-do list. So fire extinguishers. And I said, what, anything else? And she said, there were 2 outlets. There was a GFCI that wasn't GFCIing in the kitchen, and then another one had reverse polarity, so the wires were switched, so negative, positive, whatever. I'm not an electrician, so that was that. And then I had one outlet that was the same thing, and the one I met her on, which you think like no fire extinguisher. And then there's electrical, you know what I mean? I'm kind of like, yeah, we got to correct this. But so the one was, it's not a big deal, but I think that's a very kind of, because I asked her, I said, hey, when, now that you're kind of getting your feet under you in this job, I said, what's the most common, thing that you see? And she said, yeah, we see a lot of miswired electrical. We see, another thing was unlabeled electrical panel. You have to have everyone labeled. Yeah, every switch labeled, and I think one of the houses didn't have it labeled. There was like 2 of them that were labeled, and so that was she said that's very common. But she did tell me this that I didn't know. She said that a recent code change requires you so most people that live in a house, typically if you have a garage that's attached, you're walking into the house through a garage entry door, right? And usually it's a steel door. She said that there's a code change now that requires you to have self-closing hinges on entry doors coming in from the garage because of fire, right? So, it's basically a way to contain the fire or whatever. And I was like, what? And she's like, I know. And I'm like, are you serious? So everybody that owns it, I'm like, this is just, I don't get it, man. Like every little single thing that could happen, they try to, get you for. Anyway, I felt bad, but I did meet her, and like I always dread going through those. It's never a big deal, really, but because if you keep decent places, your odds are you're fine. But those are very common, and she said smoke detectors and CO detectors especially. But luckily, I had all, those are not luckily, but I have all.
And
those.
The fun part is that because that's an electrical thing, you have to hire a licensed electrician.
Yes.
And they have to get a permit to even touch that socket, right?
Yeah, I don't know about that, but I don't. The good news is
you can't change a light technically in this town without a permit.
It's so dumb. I mean, yeah. So that happened to me this week, and I did feel bad, but I'm glad I met her. And it's always better to what's the saying? You catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar.
And you got some honey up
there. I had all honey, all honey that day. So we made nice and whatever. I think I'm back in the good graces here. But hey, I did want to share something. So this was actually brought up that I wanted to feature in today's Golden Nugget. And I'm going to give a shout out to Nate Eccles, who is Riley Eccles' dad. For those of you that don't know who Nate is, Riley's a TV star that we've had on
Nate loves it.
A couple times. And he brought up a good tip. We were basically talking, we had a discussion going at this investor coffee meetup, and it was around basically ways to operate your rental properties better, some recent gotchas, legislation changes. We talked about Airbnbs that are, a lot of people are up in arms about that, that city councilman called the neighborhood meeting, all this stuff, right?
Mr. Hug.
Yes. But today's Golden Nugget is, Nate mentioned this, and I had never heard of this before. We were talking about emotional support animals and basically what a racket it is. You can pretty much find a website that'll spit you out a paper that says, oh yeah, you have an emotional support iguana or, turkey or whatever. right? Raccoon. That's actually a thing. Like I think Clint Blackburn had somebody that had an emotional support raccoon that they were claiming.
Shay Spitz has a raccoon as a pet.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she posted on her social.
Oh, that'd be interesting. I'd rather enjoy that as a voyeur than actually have one of those in my house. Those things are trash pandas. But so petscreening.com is a site, and I've never used this site, so I'm not, although we would entertain a sponsorship, but petscreening.com will actually screen the animal for both service animal, that making sure that they actually check the box for that, and emotional support. And the nice thing about this is it takes you out of the mix as the bad person or the bad cop. So they approve or deny based on the validation that they're a legitimate emotional support animal, that you actually need it, that you actually went to a doctor and had a need for that type of service. So I don't know exactly what they do or what their investigative process is, but it's a good way to, screen out people that are trying to game the system by getting some of those bogus ESA certificates. So petscreening.com, check it out. It might be a good resource for you if you own, residential properties.
The one thing I think it's really funny is like, I'll get somebody hit me up every once in a while, like, hey, I'm allergic to animals. Has there ever been an animal at your property? And, of course, all my apartments I had are like, yes, we have. And because I had so many support animals coming in, I had to just say, F it, I'm going to just go ahead and allow
animals across the board
and charge for it.
Yeah.
And then I have this house that I have, it's the only Airbnb I have now. It's never had a pet in it, ever.
As far as you know.
Yeah. And so when somebody asks, I'm like, yeah, it never has. But if I get somebody with an emotional support animal, then all of a sudden I lose the business that people are allergic to animals.
Right.
And don't they get rights? Isn't there a point where I can say, hey, I'm a pet allergic free home?
So on the kind of staying in the topic of ESA, so Paul Vacheski, who we've had on the podcast, and he is the whatever his title is, director of the Real Estate Commission.
He's on the Nebraska Commission board,
yeah. So he has a Facebook page for basically Nebraska landlords, and he is constantly sharing tips and stuff to watch out for and stuff like that. And he had somebody that posted an anonymous question, which I don't know why people do that, because they're like, hey, I had somebody that had an emotional support animal and they caused damages, and now the tenant is arguing with me that they are exempt because it was the animal that caused the damage. They're exempt from the damage cost in coming out of the security deposit.
No.
Right. And so you would think common sense, you're like, duh, of course not. But yes, that is the case. You are able as a property owner or, property manager to recover those additional repair costs that pet damage can cause. So you just lump it into one category, which is basically damages. It's not specified like who caused it. Was it the dog? Was it you, your kid, whatever? Right. But I was just mentioning that as an interesting, soundbite on that. Well, I never really even thought about it.
On the Airbnb, when there's a pet in there, my cleaners charge me another like $75 because all the pet hair to get off.
Yeah.
So
now, have people typically tried to smuggle pets in when they've booked an Airbnb when that's happened, or do they check with you ahead of time?
When I had my apartments, yes, that happened a lot.
Yeah.
But with my house, no. And I have a camera that's in the front door, so I'm seeing everything coming in and out.
Yeah.
And so I've never had an issue there. But yeah, the apartments all the time. Or they book one pet and they bring in like 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, oh, no. It doesn't work like that.
Or the worst is, well, like this happens all the time too. So like, especially the ones that I self-manage, and sometimes have a hard time being a bad guy, but they'll be like, oh, hey, we're thinking about getting a dog. And it's always, they're really well behaved. They're of a smaller dog or a medium-sized dog. It's never a big dog. And I've been over there, there's like pit bull mix and like Rottweiler, like whatever. And I'm like, look, you don't have to sell me on that they're a great dog. I have never in my life heard a prospective tenant tell me that they had a wild, crazy dog that tears up stuff. It's just like, let's just skip this part. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. Your dog's great. My dog's great. We're all great. But I'm not blaming them, and I love animals, and you have a dog. I have, a dog and a cat, but it's bad owners, bad discipline.
Yeah, the funny thing is so when we got our dog, we got a Doberman. And it weighs 108 pounds now. This big old boy. And I when we got him, I called my insurance agent because we had to fill out the survey and ask you what kind of animals you have. And I'm like, okay, hey, I got this Doberman. Do I need reports on my insurance? He's like, you don't, because you got it after the fact. He goes, but if you were to get a new policy, you would have to disclose that. And most insurances will not insure you with a Doberman.
What? Is that true?
Yeah, or a Rottweiler.
There's a list of 7, quote unquote dangerous breed
German
dogs,
Shepherd,
chows, Yeah, Huskies, I think, or maybe not Huskies.
I think Huskies are on there too. Yeah.
Huskies are psychos.
So,
but anyway, yeah. So that was an interesting, discussion we had around that topic. But
I mean, I already have a hard enough time because I have a pool with a diving board.
Yeah,
like I got dropped from the first one because they want me to take the diving board out.
Yeah, you are not the favorite of insurance carriers. I don't think.
I haven't had a claim on
my
my house.
Choices, Ted.
Man.
Hey, I did forget this. I want to do this at the beginning of the episode. Big shout out to Beverly Dashner, my mom's. It's her 79th birthday today.
Hey.
And it's also Friday the 13th. I don't know what that means, but I'm going to go and hang out with my fam tonight.
You should sing her happy birthday right now and then send her this episode.
All right, Jory, cue the happy birthday music.
The birth music.
I think we need to start incorporating some, dramatic music and like some theme type music. Jory, let Ted know. Yeah, let Ted know if you're up for the challenge on this. We need to start upping our game for all the sponsorship spots we're getting.
We'll FaceTime her after this.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. Hey, before we wrap, one thing that I thought was kind of funny is in that podcast that we're doing with Dalton, you and I noticed you do this more and more, but you reference is it a single, is it a double, was it a triple home run as far as the deal?
Yeah.
And then so like what technically is a single in your mind, double, triple, home run, and how you portray that to real estate, and is that our official verbiage on when we're starting to ask people now?
That's a good question. I think it depends on what your disposition is for the property. So if you're going to wholesale it, that's a whole different wholesale, wholetail, flip, hold. Those are all different, right? And so like if you do a BRRRR and you're able to, I mean, you'll hear this in the episode. I don't want to spoil it, but he got a ridiculous price on an 8-unit property in Sioux City. In fact, his first one. And then he ended up, it was just crazy what he bought it for.
Would you say that was a triple or home run?
Oh, that's a grand slam.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he was able to burr out,
change his life.
Almost 200% of what he bought it for. Like cash money in his pocket. And that was his seed money to start like a whole bunch of other acquisitions.
And after the BRRRR, it's still cash flowing.
Yeah. I mean, that was a grand slam for sure. But I would say like
grand slam wasn't on my list. So
yeah,
I need
grand slam is that's the granddaddy of them all. Yeah. So
yeah.
he came out of the gate with a grand slam.
I don't think he would have had the success of getting hundreds of units.
I don't think so. I don't think so. If he would have came out and just,
he would have, but because he was a go-getter.
The craziest part about it is he started 2.5 years ago.
And
2.5 years ago.
Not during the BRRRR time.
No, that's my point. Interest rates have done what they've done, and now they're the new normal. So you're hovering around between 7 and 8 on commercial debt over the last few years.
And for your national listeners that only are looking for these cities to invest in, like he's going to open your mind up to areas that probably are not on your radar at all.
We talked a lot in that episode about tertiary versus secondary versus primary markets and what are the pros and cons. And he has, lives in and has chosen to operate and build his businesses and portfolio in and around smaller, cities, smaller towns. And I really loved his approach about, kind of drawing it out in a concentric circle from where he lives and having hubs. He mentioned that in the episode. So tune into that fascinating episode. Really good dude.
But at the end, though, because he's trying to hit goals of thousands here soon.
Yeah,
and I was like, hey, I got a 40-something unit lead, and that's 300-something miles away, but in Iowa. Okay, send it to me.
Yeah, he has a little bit of FOMO, a lot of motivation,
and and if you're a Brandon Turner fan, that's where he started getting his success. He joined the 50 with Brandon, and he's in the Titan group at Colin Schwartz's group. Yep. That's where we got connected. You indirectly have done some business with him.
Yep.
So lots of connections left and right, and good interview, good person. We're able to get him to drive into town, so we enjoyed it. So appreciate that. Appreciate you guys listening. I hope you guys give us a 5-star review, and watch out. We're gonna hopefully make some changes on the YouTube channel coming soon. We have a actual website being built right now.
Yeah, we're gonna have a lot of new content, some new sources for information. So stay tuned for that. Do you have a URL or a domain name for the website that you want to share real quick?
Yeah, so we've always owned the name REIA Radio.
Yep,
and that will follow us no matter what we do. And the new website will have us on there, but you can find us on Instagram, and you can find us on Facebook.
Sure, all the socials.
Yeah, but I can't update it on Facebook because I'm still banned until May 11th.
Do you have that marked on your calendars?
If I start scrolling Facebook and then I want to make a comment on something, and then I always screw up and I do it, and it's like banned May 11th. 2:35 a.m.
This is the equivalent of Ted having duct tape on his mouth for social media.
Well, it's kind of like
it's been kind of entertaining.
This whole ban, this whole thing that their legislation are trying to pass with Airbnbs right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I really want to give my 2 cents, and then I posted that video that we did in here, and people are like throwing their opinions left and right on this thing, and I'm like wanting to like respond to them. I'm like, oh, and then I'm just like biting my tongue because like all I can do is like down arrow it or up arrow.
So on May 11th, you just have your whole week blocked off, where you're just gonna completely binge and catch up on all the socials, reels. You're just gonna go nuts.
I run like 40 groups on Facebook.
40?
Yes.
What, man.
And some of them a lot of them are small, but it's just like if I get something in my head, I just create a group and then and see where it goes. And I've like some of these groups have just gone dormant since.
Actually, I created groups that I don't even know. Like, I don't even remember creating them because I'll get like admin notifications where I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot I started a hard money thing in Iowa, Nebraska, and I'm like, I haven't paid any attention. There's like hundreds of people wanting to join, and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about that group.
Yeah, join all.
Oh, that's funny.
That's the thing I hate most about our Omaha REIA group is that we get about 80 requests to join or comment for the first time every day.
Oh, that you have to go in and approve and look at.
And then if I miss like a day or two, then it's like, oh, it's like 300.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, like anybody that just is from a different country, because I'm trying to keep it local,
Right.
And I'm like, deny, or different. If you're from one of the coasts, deny. So, but it's fun. But check us out, follow us. We appreciate it. Give us a 5-star review. And with that, Owen Dasher, we see us out.
On behalf of REIA Radio, Aiden Bear and Ted Kosh, I'm Owen Dashner.
Big Ted.
And you've been listening to the Real Estate Rundown.
Signing off.